All right, hey everybody, this is Dave Biondi with GreenCars, and we are taking a field trip today with Rogue Disposal here in Southern Oregon, and we are going around picking up trash cans today, and we're going to be checking out their big trucks that run off clean natural gas. Also, they mine for methane, which we're going to check that out, and check out what the future is of garbage pickup. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned. My journey to Rogue Disposal started at the compressed natural gas, or CNG, filling station north of Medford. It was there that I was scheduled to meet up with my tour guide for the day, Garry Penning.
I am the Director of Governmental Affairs and Marketing.
All right, awesome. So thank you for being with us today. Gary's going to be giving us a tour of everything Rogue Disposal. So Garry, why don't you tell us where we are right now?
We're at Rogue Clean Fuels, where we fuel our CNG fleet that goes around and picks up the garbage in Medford.
And so actually the truck that I just got out of was a CNG truck. So why don't you tell us about this facility?
So this facility is open to the public, so anybody who has a credit card and a CNG car or truck can come in here and fuel, just like any gas station. And what happens here is we take the natural gas, same stuff that goes into households for heat and stoves, and we compress that through these compressors over here, and we pump that PSI up. So when the truck comes in and fuel, it's very much like filling a propane tank. So they hook up, the cutoff pressure is 3,600 PSI, and that's the equivalent of about 75 gallons of diesel. He's just done fueling, and he'll be taking off now and going back out to his route. And you can notice how quiet that truck is compared to a diesel truck.
Yeah, definitely. It's very nice for our audio guy. And so then as far as what other vehicles may stop by here? So
we have local fleets that run around and pick up and deliver stuff. We also have some over-the-road fleets. For a while, a company that delivered postal products from Sacramento to Portland stopped in here and fueled their fleet off of I-5. So we get a lot of traffic off of I-5 that comes in here and fuels up.
So how long has this station been here?
It's been here about 6 years. And when we built this partially through a grant from the Department of Transportation, and the reason we got that grant is the fact that it is open to the public and it's open 24/7.
Nice. All right, excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to the tour today. We're going to be taking off and going and checking out many other areas of Rogue Disposal, so let's go.
All right, sounds good.
Here we go. The first leg of the tour took us to the Rogue Disposal Transfer and Recycling Station. And so where are we now, Garry?
We're in the public recycling area where they can drop off cardboard, newspaper, glass, and then so this is the area where there's no charge to recycle any of these materials. Now we're coming up on the e-waste area, and this is an electronics recycling program. So TVs, computer monitors, CPUs, all those kind of things can get recycled here.
This is an interesting area that we're coming into right here. Why don't you tell us about the solar panels?
Yeah, so this are some solar panels that have been installed well over a decade ago, and they provide enough electricity for about the equivalent of 2 or 3 homes, but it's enough for like our scale house and some of our lights here around the facility. It's part of our sustainability initiatives that we've had with the company for a couple decades.
So this transfer station is off the grid.
Not completely, because we have a lot of large motors and stuff, so we still depend upon Pacific Power, but we supply part of it.
All right, cool.
Where we're going to be next is the compost drop-off facility, and it's for green waste that's collected curbside from our trucks. It gets loaded into a semi-trailer and taken to the area where it's actually composted for 18 months, and then that finished material comes back to be sold to the public. And it's approved for use on organic farms and gardens. So now we're going down to the area where materials that can be recycled, but we don't put them in they're banned from the landfill, like fluorescent light bulbs and the like. And you can see we got tires here. Tires are banned from the landfill. Appliances aren't allowed in the landfill. You see some toilets over here. They have a program where if you bring in a toilet, we give them a coupon. They go back and get a rebate from the city of Medford because they're replacing old toilets with low flow volume toilets to conserve water.
Gotcha.
The next part, we'll be going to the recycling area, and you'll see what happens once the material gets delivered here that's picked up from businesses and residents.
In the recycling bay, cardboard from curbside bins is gathered, processed, and bundled into bales. Those bales will be shipped to market so they can be made into new products.
All right, so where are we going now, Gary?
So right now we're at the pay booth. We try to give folks an idea of what a cubic yard is, because everybody has a different size vehicle. It could be a big pickup, it could be a small pickup, it could be a trailer. So, and since we charge by the yard, we wanted to give them a visual of this is what a yard of garbage looks like, because that's what we charge by.
And so you were saying something about how much it would be for a household in a year.
Yeah, so what I want you to keep in mind what that 1 cubic yard looks like, So in your household, David, you have 2 people. So when we get to the landfill, we compact the garbage. So what we try to do is we try to get 1,400 to 1,700 pounds of garbage in a cubic yard to conserve space. And that's about what you produce in your house per year.
Wow. All right, so why don't you explain where are we going now?
We are actually coming into the transfer station, and this is where the public comes in and drops their garbage off. So we have both residential and commercial customers coming in here. We've got a large piece of equipment that's, pushing the garbage up on this conveyor belt. It then gets conveyed up and into this trailer and gets compacted down, and then it gets covered with a tarp so nothing gets blown out on the road. And then once this trailer is full, it'll be delivered to the landfill where that's its final destination.
So you had mentioned to me when we were talking previously to coming out here that, people bring you the garbage. There's this perception of landfills and that, it's bad, but you said something cool. What was that the other day?
Well, we don't produce anything. We just take what society is done using. And so there is maybe a misconception about landfills. But if you do have to dispose of something, the safest place to get rid of it is a modern day landfill, because there's liners underneath it that keep the water from going into the groundwater. We capture whatever biogases come off it. And then when we're done, we cover it, with dirt and a final cover. So we really are sort of a repository, and it's the safest place for stuff to go when you're done using it.
At long last, it was time to see the final destination of my household waste and learn how it's mined for methane, which meant a visit to the Dry Creek landfill.
We're at the landfill here in Southern Oregon, and this is the final destination for all that waste that was picked up at the curbside and then went through the transfer station. So this is where its final stop is, where it's going to be environmentally handled and taken care of.
So that's awesome. So behind us, I just noticed a huge dump of something going there, some garbage. So why don't you explain where all that came from?
So this landfill is a regional landfill. So we serve northwestern California and southwestern Oregon. So we serve about 7 to 8 different counties.
Gary, why don't you tell me how many acres are we on right now?
So we're permitted to put garbage in 250 acres per our permit with the Oregon DEQ, and we're actively in 3 to 5 acres. The rest of it is all covered and sealed.
All right, so let's talk about this bad boy behind us, which you've got scattered all throughout, and this is the main thing we want to talk about is the methane mining.
So this is one of our gas collection wells, and we have over 100 of those here in the active landfill. And what it does is basically, if you think about it, it's just a large vacuum hose that runs throughout the landfill, and we slowly pull the biogas that has the methane in it, and it's taken down to our gas to energy facility where we either burn it to produce energy for about 3,000 homes, or it's flared off through some flares, which destroys the methane and carbon dioxide.
Okay, so how many of these methane pipes do you have around here?
Well, we have both vertical wells like you see here, and then we have horizontal wells. And between the two, we have at least 100 that are active right now. And since the landfill started, there's been over 200 in place. But they do have a useful life, and some of those are beyond their useful life.
And so how long have you been using this sort of system here?
Well, the methane's been extracted from the landfill within 2 or 3 years after waste started being put in it. By law, once you place waste in a landfill, you have to have a gas extraction system in place after 5 years. So these have been going on for 20, 25 years or so.
Wow. Okay.
The final stop on the tour would show us the end result of all this work.
Garry, why don't you tell us where we are right now?
We're at the gas to energy plant, and this is where all the gas is collected and brought to. And a portion of it is burned into 2,000 horsepower engines, and we produce enough electricity for about 3,000 homes a day here. So we saw the wells earlier, and then what this facility does, if you think about it, we've got just a really, really big vacuum cleaner hooked to all those wells, and it brings it down into a consolidation point, and then that gas is cleaned up a little bit. We take the dust out of it, for lack of better words, and then we chill it, which takes the water out of it. Once it's cleaned up to that point, it can be run through these engines.
So why don't we go ahead in the screen behind us? Why don't you go ahead and you can just describe what this is behind us.
Okay, so this is a screen of what we call the blower skids, and these are those vacuum pumps. So we actually have 3 of them. There's 2 of them running right now. We always have a backup. So they're the ones that are just pulling all the gas out of the landfill and bringing it down to the facility. This entire facility is computerized, and you can see down here we've got reports, data, communication. We got the flares where the rest of the gas is burned off. We've got a chiller, a condensate. So the plant is monitored 24/7. So our operator, if he's not on site, something starts going wrong, he's notified on his cell phone, and he can pull this up anywhere and change parameters or shut the machines down, or I need to go out there and do a little bit of adjusting.
Let's back up a little bit. Rogue disposal. Why don't you tell us a little bit of history about rogue disposal?
So rogue disposal came about in 1938, and a gentleman by the name of Tony Boitano started that company. Tony's history started in Portland around Mount Tabor, and it was with a horse and a wagon and about 100 customers. So over the years, that little horse and wagon then became rogue disposal and recycling here, and now we have about 165 employees. We've got a collection company, a transfer station, a recycling processing center, a compost facility, and a landfill, and some various other environmental services that we provide.
Wow, that's awesome. So what about you? How long have you worked for Rogue Disposal?
I've been with Rogue Disposal for over 17 years, and I've got over 33 years in the industry.
Awesome. All right. It's been a real fun day today. We've learned a lot. And from the truck that I was in earlier today, from going to the transfer station and then coming here to the landfill, you're really able to see the full story of what happens and kind of behind the curtain.
Well, when people roll their cart out or their can out to the street, they come home and it's empty, and that's the extent of their thought process. They really don't see the behind-the-scenes story like we've done today. It's a very complex industry. It's a very fascinating industry because it's all aspects. It's engineering, it's computers, it's large equipment. And really, this is the story of how that waste is safely managed and disposed of, so it protects not only the health of the citizens, but also the environment.
And then coming from the story of the gentleman who started Rogue Disposal and having one horse, literally one guy, one trailer, what's the future of Rogue Disposal?
So our next big project is this renewable natural gas, RNG. So we're going to take this gas that's being used in homes, we're going to clean it up more, get it to what's called pipeline quality. It'll get put into the natural gas pipeline system, and then our trucks will be able to run on renewable natural gas. So the fuel they're using to pick it up was actually from the garbage that folks threw away months or years before.
Wow, and that's going to be awesome. So you heard it here first, from GreenCars to green all the way around. This has been Dave and Garry, and we've had quite a day. Thank you, Garry. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.